Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here for the Family First Life AMS, Advanced Market Sales. My name is Shawn, Ruggiero. I want to talk to you today about something that is relevant to now, meaning the very recent history. It's relevant to the the last 20 years of our U.S. economy, and it is very relevant to those who are coming into or are already in retirement. All right, and that has to do with market crashes. Okay, so what I did, and this is public information, I actually think the Wikipedia graph does a good job, but it lists here in rank of severity, meaning the net change in points. You can look at the percentage change over here, but it lists out the top 20 single day losses for the S&P 500. Okay, single day losses, the S&P 500. My wife gave me a piece of artwork, something that says, what a difference a day can make. And, you know, a lot of things factor into what happens in a day, but the idea is, on this day, my son was born, or my daughter was born, or one of my kids was born. So much can change in one day, and that's very true. It's never been more true than when it comes to the stock market. What a difference a day can make. So if we look at this here are the top 20 losses. Now I want to point out a couple of things. All right. First thing I want to point out is look at the years. The number one day for the biggest drop in the stock market when it comes to net change was in 2018. Does that surprise you a little bit? It was in 2018. Number two day was in 2008. That doesn't surprise you. But look at number 3, 4, and 5, 2018. If you're a retiree or if you're getting ready for retirement, shouldn't that scare you a little bit? We know the market can go up and go down. And if we focus on a single day, that's some pretty severe drops, some pretty severe losses. But to think that the top 4 of the top 5 have come within the last year, that's really scary. I want to also point this out. Look here, this one as recently as 2019, okay? All of them, with the exception of number 19 and number 15, all of them are in the 2000s, all right? All of them are in the 21st century, meaning that these changes are hitting us more often in the more recent financial future. So if we look at this, why am I telling you this? Why am I talking to a client about losses in one day? Because I want them to know what a difference a day can make. Remember, when we're heading into retirement, we have our accumulation. We aren't putting money in anymore, or we're starting to come to the end of putting the money in. Meaning that if I have $300,000 and I'm putting in $300 from a paycheck, it's minuscule. It really doesn't matter. What matters more is what the market is doing. That's why it's important not only for people who are in retirement, but people who are heading into retirement, maybe 5 or 10 years away. I think that sweet spot is right around 7 years. 7 years towards retirement, you need to be starting to look at a glide path, at leveling things out. So if we look at this here and we look at the points lost, or the net change, that's one thing. But look at the percentage, minus 4%, minus 8%, minus 3.75%, minus 9%, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we see this as a percentage loss. Well, what does that percentage loss mean? And why is this happening so frequently today or in more recent future? It's because there's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of volatility because with growth, and we're in a 10-year bull run, with growth comes uncertainty. So you're going to have these depressions that come in. Why does this matter? I'm looking at periods of time here that represent less than one paycheck. All right, if you annuitized your money, it's less than one paycheck. If you're still working, it's less than one paycheck, meaning it's within 1 month period. If you were taking Social Security, it's less than one paycheck. So this time frame right here is 3 months. This is the S&P 500. This is pulled straight from E-Trade. This is 3 months on the S&P 500. Now I want you to notice something. From start to finish, we are still up with a high watermark right around here, over 3,000. Okay, now that was a benchmark that we passed. For the first time ever, the S&P has reached 3,000. I want you to understand something for your knowledge and for your client's knowledge. Some of that, to the tune of about 2.1 to 2.5%, is inflation. See, the markets go up with inflation because they use money. They use U.S. currency, and U.S. currency is subject to inflation. So if you look back over the returns of the stock market, and this is a good thing. I'm saying that stocks are great at hedging inflation, okay? But if you look at the returns of the stock market, it's not all returns and dividends and growth of companies. Some of it is a reflection of inflation. So naturally, eventually, we're going to get to 3,000 because we have inflation built into the stock market because that's what companies use is U.S. currency. But I want to point out something here, okay? This is less than a week in June, 2.5% drop. This is 2 weeks in August, June, end of July, first part of August, 6.4% drop. What a difference a day can make. What does that mean to you as a retiree? That means that you could get a paycheck here. Maybe it's your Social Security check. Maybe it's one of your last checks in retirement. Let's go with Social Security. You get a Social Security check, and now you've got to take out some money to help pay the bills or go on that vacation or buy a new car or do whatever it is. Maybe it's RMDs. And the market drops 2.5%. Between the day you took a paycheck and the next day you took a paycheck, the market dropped 2.5%. That can happen when it's exposed to the market. How about over here? 6.4%. What does that mean? Let's translate that. Well, if we look over here, I ran a couple scenarios. 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. Do people have all their money in retirement when they're using traditional retirement portfolios in the stock market? No. 50,000 might represent the portion that is subject to the market. And are all stocks as volatile as others? No, some of them have less volatility, less growth, less downside. But at the end of the day, anything that is tied to the stock market, when the market's down, will generally go down. There are some slight exceptions, but your mutual funds, your ETFs in retirement don't have single stocks that happen to be the exception when the market goes down. They're going to move up and they're going to move down with the market. So maybe this $50,000 represents a portion of someone's $200,000 or a portion of their $100,000 or maybe all of their money. And what's tragic is that when we deal with that, we call them middle Americans, I call them lower Americans, right? And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean they're the people that are going to struggle. They're the people that 75% of their retirement is going to come from Social Security and $50,000 is all they have. Do you think someone's really taking the time, knowing that they get paid a portion of a percentage of that, to sit down with them and work out a plan? Absolutely not. They're probably in the same investments that they were in when they rolled that 401k over to an IRA when they were 63 years old. They're probably in the same investments. It's probably never been touched. And it's subject to fees, expense ratios, and it's subject to loss. So if we have a 2.5% drop, which happened in a couple days or in one day, they lost $1,250. For someone who has $50,000 of retirement, how much time, blood, sweat, tears do you think $1,250 represents? What if they hit 6.4%? $3,200. What if they have $200,000 of retirement? A 2.5% drop, that doesn't seem like much. Really? Because if you're having to live off that money, do you think $5,000 or $12,800 that you lost in one day matters? Listen, agents, listen, advisors, you got to help people out. Change is uncomfortable. People don't naturally want to change. People don't want to be shown that they're doing something wrong. I think I am the champion of that crusade. I hate being told I'm doing something wrong. But if I humble myself and if I listen, if the person has good information, not emotional information, good, solid information that they present to you and they say, listen, here are the top 20 days of one-day loss in the S&P 500. Your current portfolio is exposed to the market, to the S&P 500. Meaning, if one of these losses happens, you could be losing this much money in a single day. And what's scary is that how many of those top 20 days of losses have happened in the last year, 2 years, the last decade. See, with growth comes loss. comes volatility. What a difference a day can make. Pass that message on to your agents. Bridget's going next with What's News, and we got some great training today from Gavin. Thank you everyone for being on the FFL AMS.
Good morning, everyone. I have our issue paid numbers here for the week. This is week 32 of IULs. We have Brigado G with 2,693, Carl V with 10,330, Danielle B with 754, David P with 3,016, Dominic L with 1,759, Frank D with 9,435, Gerald G with 926, Hyunchal C with 2,541, Marcus S with 2,514, Thomas K with 1,880, VP with 1,320, Wayne C with 5,276, bringing our weekly total to 42,444. Then we have our issue paid annuities. This is from August 1st to August 7th. We have Gary T and Daryl B with a split on 200,000, Josh L with 196,950, Danielle B with 157,726, Bianca O with 130,491, Frank D with 100,000, Danielle B with 90,603, Jeffrey E with 89,281, Hyunchal C with 80,000, Anthony C with 74,063, Jose G with 71,919, Daniel W and John G with a split on 71,886, Amy M with 65,247, Moriyama M with 50,777, Pablo P with 41,792, Toria M with 39,161, Louise R with 36,726, Travis A with 35,000, Marcus M with 32,450, Conrad P with $32,033, Pablo P with 25,000, Gerald K with 21,103, Georgina S with 18,176, Brent S with 15,000, and John N with 11,000, bringing our total to just above 1.6 million for the week. That's all I have for you guys this week. Thanks. See you next time.
Hi everyone, this is Gavin with Family First Life North. Shawn, thanks so much for having me on AMS Live. I think these weekly trainings that we offer are great for new agents and also agents who have been in the field for quite a while. I pick up something each week off of these, and even this morning I was watching one of David Allen's videos and I learned so much. I'm going to use a lot of what he does in my own presentations. Hopefully you guys can pick up a few things from here as well too. What I'm going to go over is how to, after you find the money, whether it's through final expense, Medicare, or mortgage protection appointment, how do you get interest in setting a follow-up appointment? I ignore the money in the beginning until I get to the very end. I'm there to serve a purpose. Once that's wrapped up, I'll just refer back and just say, hey Bob, in regards to that $200,000 that you've got in that IRA, does all this market volatility make you nervous? And we'll get one or two answers. I've gotten yes, and set a follow-up appointment immediately. And I just say, great, I'll be back here on Tuesday about the same time, and I'll show you how to eliminate all the anxiety and all the stress, and also all the fees out of your retirement. Sound good? Perfect. I mean, that can't be any easier. But when I get no, and someone's not concerned about the volatility, it's for one of a few reasons. And usually they'll say, no, I've got an advisor. I've got a guy. He's phenomenal. He's done great for me, and I have no concerns whatsoever. Now, do they know something that we don't know, or is their head in the sand and they're not paying attention to where the markets are today and history of what happened, 12 years ago, 10, 12 years ago? So a lot of people that are comfortable want to have faith in their advisor. And I'm not saying their advisor is a bad person. I've got a lot of friends that are advisors and analysts, and they're all great people. But when people are paying somebody a fee as an advisor, they think that their account's being watched, and that if something was going to happen, there's going to be a major downturn, the advisor's going to pick up the phone and say, hey Bob, things aren't looking good right now, we better move some money. Well, that's not going to happen. It didn't happen in 2007, 2008, and it's not going to happen now. And people are comfortable because each month they get their statements, and for the last 9 years, it's gone up. It's pretty fun to open up your statements while you're in retirement and see that you made money. Well, that's about to end in a bad way. And that's just not me saying that. I'll show you where I get my information from, and it's not the insurance companies. So when you're opening up your statements for the last 10 years and you've regained the money that you lost in 2008, you become desensitized to what that was like. So for the last 10 years, when you're gaining money, you forget that you lost 45% of your entire retirement. Well, it didn't affect you back then because you weren't retired. It didn't affect you back then because you weren't facing retirement. But now that you're either facing retirement or retired, it's going to affect you in a big way. And what's going to happen now is if the same thing happens as it did back a decade ago, you're talking about people who have to work longer, people who have to go get jobs again, or people who are unable to work, sacrificing their quality of life because they don't have as much money. So when Bob tells me that he's totally comfortable, that he's got an advisor, he's been a great guy, he knows him really well, I said, oh, that's awesome, that's perfect. What I'll do is I will Google whatever brokerage firm he's with and put in the words bear market afterwards, okay? So I'm not gonna use my words, I'm gonna use his advisor's boss's words to show them, the state of the market, where it's at now, what people are predicting. And so here's a couple things that I found after searching the major brokerage firms in America and adding the words bear market to afterwards. So here's one saying that investors should prepare for a 40% plunge, okay? So that is, a lot of my clients have this investor or this brokerage firm. So they're saying a 40% plunge. So based off of their words, Bob has $200,000 today, and they're saying, Bob, prepare to lose $80,000. So now you have gone from $200,000 to $120,000. So if your brokerage firm's correct and you do lose 40%, how's your retirement going to look when you go from 200 to 120? Okay, not so good. And again, we're not using, this is an insurance company saying, hey, buy annuities because we can protect it. This is your investment firm saying that. Here's another one, another big investment firm that a lot of my clients have. It says, don't fear the bear market. Well, it says don't fear the bear market because it's going to be a great time to buy, to invest back into the market, to buy some stocks, to buy some equities, to buy some mutual funds. Well, why is it going to be a great time to buy? It's not a great time to buy when the markets are at an all-time high, is it? No. It's going to be a great time to buy because they're predicting a major loss, and a good time to buy would be down here. So does that help Bob, who's currently retired and not contributing to his account anymore? Nope, not at all. It helps the people that are buying into the market, but not the people that are relying on that for their income, okay? So now we got Bob, a little bit of Bob's interest now. So he's, okay, so here I showed him that your brokerage firm is saying that you're gonna prepare to suffer a 40% loss. Okay, and it's gonna be a great time to buy stocks because we're gonna see some major loss here. I said, Bob, why don't you go grab a statement real quick, I wanna show you something. And so he'll go back, and now I've got some interest from him. He'll go back and get the statement, and what I'll do is I'll look at where his money is currently held. What is he invested in? Now we can't give buy, sell advice, but we can actually look at a statement and Google things. I mean, I don't have a finance degree, but I know how to use Google, and that's what I use for most of my information. And so after he comes back and he gets me a statement, I'll look through that and I'll find the funds that he's in. And I'll take one where he's got, a sizable amount of money. Say he's got $50,000 in XYZ fund. And when you look at the statements, you don't have to be an expert on it. The statements will have the name of the fund, and then they'll have a ticker symbol right underneath it and what the stock is looked up as. And so I'll take that ticker symbol and I'll Google that plus the word performance. And what it brings me up is it'll show like a 5-year performance on there, but I don't want to go back 5 years because 5 years started here and then just went up. What I want to show them is what happened in 2007 to 2009. And so I'll pull that up and I'll show them, Bob, this fund that you're in right now, the one you've been so happy with and the one that your advisor's got $50,000 of your account in, look what it did in 2007 to 2009. And a lot of times when I pull those up, I mean, here's a very popular fund. that most of my clients are actually in, and it lost 51% in 2008, 2009. And so if it lost 51% back then, that's how volatile it is. And it's seen some great growth since then, but if it lost 51% then, they can lose 51% next year. And so here's what we have is we have his investment firm saying prepare for a 40% loss. We've got one of the funds that he's actually in right now that lost 51% back then. And then I'll ask him, now how safe do you feel right now? Now does all the market volatility make you nervous? It should, okay? And so what I'll show them, also when I look at that, I'll look at the fund and I'll say, okay, this lost 51%. It took 7 years to get back to the original amount. So advisors are telling people that just stay where you're at, you're gonna be fine, the market's always bounce back, it's only a quick downturn and it bounces back. Yeah, that's true. But the last 2 times the market went down, here was 2000, here's 2007, it's taken 7 years for it to bounce back. So if Bob's 67 years old, he loses 40% or more of his retirement account, it's gonna be 74 years old before he gets that back to the original 200,000. And that's without taking any kind of withdrawals. So I don't use scare tactics when I meet with clients. I want to gain their interest in seeing how we can protect their retirement, but what are we protecting it from? So I Google their brokerage firm and add the word bear market and see what their brokerage is saying about the current market conditions and what to expect over the next year. Then I get the statement out, and once I get the statement, I look into one of his current funds, Google that, and show him what it did in 2008, 2009. And now we're not feeling so safe anymore, okay? So now you got that, and you show them how volatile it is and how much he has at risk. So you're saying you've got $80,000 on the table right now. So what I'm gonna do, Bob, is I've only got about 15 minutes, but I can come back tomorrow or Tuesday, set the appointment. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to eliminate all this risk. So you'll never have to worry about losing money again. But when the markets bounce back, you're gonna get a sizable portion of that as well too. So I'm going to show you how to eliminate all the risk of your retirement. I'm going to show you how to eliminate all the fees as well too. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that information behind for you to go ahead and digest and then come back to me with any questions. How does that sound? So by that point, after using his own information to show them how much he does have at risk, a lot of times I can tell people who tell me they're not interested, they love their advisor's their son-in-law, and they'll still be interested in meeting with me a second time because I'm going to show them how to prevent those losses that his own brokerage firm is predicting. Okay? So that's all I've got for you. You guys go ahead, have a great day. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks so much.
All right, well, thank you for having us on the AMS Live. So we, Chantal, we started talking recently. I know that Shawn Ruggiero's worked real hard on this, a number of other people in the company on the annuity and IUL front. Picked up a lot of traction with the training because, you know, the bread and butter of what we do is mortgage section and final expense, obviously. What I liked about what we decided, you know, kind of decided to hire you, the thing I think I loved the most about that originally was the fact that you're like, hey, I know what we do. Like, I get this at Family First Life. We have a phenomenal mortgage section program and final expense. I have all under control. But, man, this medical supplement and Med Advantage, it's so good. You really need to let me. And then Andrew's always raved, and other people around the country have always raved about what you're doing, how good you are at it. But I need to share a personal story, and I'm going to turn it over to you because every week you're going to be on this for 10 minutes. So you're looking to get MedSup and Med Advantage training. Chantal's going to provide it every week. But my mother lost her job. Okay, after 20 some odd years. And of course she calls me up, and my mom's been everything to me. She raised me, she did it all on her own. Wasn't able to help her when I was younger, I was a kid, but as I've gotten older, we do a lot for her because she deserves it. You know, right. She's done a lot for me. I'll never forget that. And she was in this panic mode about all these things. Well, the money's not a big deal because, like, my mom don't have to worry about paying her mortgage. You know, I mean, like, she don't have to worry about that. You know, her car, she doesn't have to worry about those things because that's my job because she did so much for me growing up. And she worked 3 jobs just so we could stay in the school system we were in. But she wanted to know about MedSup. And I'm thinking, well, you know, What do I know? And then I kind of had my own, like, I don't know. So she's already talked to 3, 4, 5 people. And then I put her in touch with you. I said, listen, I have this lady who I work with. We hired her. She's across the country. I've only met her a couple times. She's been great. She's very informative. Talk to her. And her, you know why she was so afraid to talk to you?
No.
Because she thought there was no way she could afford a good plan. What she said to me was, I know there are better plans than these people are offering me, but I know I can't afford it. Now, I have no idea what it would cost, but I'm like, and I'm paying it anyway, so who cares? I'm kind of like, why do you care if you can afford it? I am paying it. But my mom wants to be independent, right? And she's like, but I want to, you know, even though I will pay it either way. And she has a couple conversations with you and calls me up. Couldn't have been any more excited. And I got to give a shout out to Shawn, Ruggiero, because she had some money, 401k stuff. And I was like, okay. She's like, don't you run the company? I'm like, yeah, I run the company. I have nothing to do with what's going on with annuities or MedSup. If you want a mortgage or final expense, you want to be trained, I got you. But those two separate entities. And she said, man, I talked to her about MedSup. Here's the plan I can get. I can't believe it. And it's only X amount a month. She thought it was going to be thousands of dollars a month and realized it's not even $200, whatever it was, wherever she was at ballpark-wise. So that changed the way I look at all this. I was more than happy to hire somebody to help out. I definitely want to help people with MedSup, MedAdvantage, absolutely. But I didn't know anything about it. And everything happens for a reason, right? I purely know that happened for a reason. So I would get smacked in the back of the head and go, Shawn, this stuff's important. Focus on it and help these agents understand, help these clients, because our clients are more than anybody else. My mom, and I've always said this since we started, my mom's our client. We grew up with no money. Even that she worked very hard for 20 some odd years. This one job, she's never made significant money. I mean, she'd be considered very much lower class. She's worked very hard. And to think that she would have taken an inferior plan because she didn't know really hit me. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
And I'd really love you to share just for a couple minutes about what you're going to accomplish every week, why the agent should be on this call. I've gotten so many people saying, man, she helped me out so much. I emailed her, I talked to her, she helped me with the plan, because we want to help the agents make money in as many ways as they can, and we want to provide for our clients in any way we can.
Absolutely. And that's why I love this. Okay. First off, people like your mom are everywhere in this country. Okay. And we come across people like your mom every day. There are final expense clients. There are mortgage protection clients. And they don't know what to do. And they're so afraid. What's this going to cost me? When I sat down with your mom and talked to her, she was so worried. And I said, look.
She's worried about everything, just so you know.
Yeah, but most people are.
I know, I'm just saying.
I'm a warrior too. I'm a warrior too.
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes just inherent in us.
Yeah.
But your mom, she didn't know which direction to go. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if you have an agent that can, Paul McLean always says this, lead, guide, and direct you. That's what we need to do for our clients with the Medicare. They don't know what to look at. They don't know what's out there. And they don't know the consequences of choosing one plan versus the other. With your mom, for instance, we were able to help her with a Medicare supplement plan. And some of our clients, they have pre-existing health conditions, and these health conditions need to be taken into consideration when we help match them up with the right plan. And I said to your mom, I said, look, you have a few concerns. Mm-hmm. And what my worry is you just jump into this cookie cutter plan here, because that's what's available in Connecticut. This may not serve you right.
That was my concern.
That was my big worry.
And I've shared this, but my mom's going through a lot of stuff medically over the last year and a half for me. Scared the garbage of it. So I want my mom to be okay. She's my mom, you know. And I'm like, I don't want you to ever have a plan that doesn't allow you to get the right services.
That's what I said too. And I said, you know, first off, you can't just base it on what the cost is. We have to take into consideration what your health concerns are. Not everybody has a health concern, but she was a little bit the exception, and she had one. And I said, look, I don't want you to miss out on an opportunity because we went for a zero-cost plan.
Correct.
Okay? And so when you analyze
which is what she would have done
had she
not been educated, because she assumed, like a lot of our clients' life insurance, they assume it's X amount. And you're like, it's $120 a month. That's it? Yeah, that covers your $120. Because she said, Shawn, I just can't afford it, and I can't let you pay.
Yeah. And
until she was educated.
In the area that your mom lives in, Connecticut, the maximum out of pocket was really, really high. Okay. So paying for that MedSup was going to be a lot less every month and cumulatively annually
Correct.
than she would have ever had to meet for the maximum out of pocket.
Correct.
And I explained
Which
to
is
her.
good because I would have to pay for it.
Exactly.
So you save me money.
I was watching out for your
correct.
wallet,
I appreciate
Shawn.
that.
I was watching your
I want to
wallet.
help her. I'd pay no matter what she needed. Now, let me make sure, and you can do this over the phone.
Yeah. I did MedSup over the phone with your mom. Absolutely.
But I'm saying you can do, like, you have a client,
Yep.
you're helping out, you're able to do that.
Yep.
You put them in it. So you're going to talk every week about MedSup,
Uh-huh.
Med Advantage, where it makes sense. It's
Absolutely.
phenomenal. We're also coming up on open enrollment.
Yep.
That accurate?
Annual enrollment period.
Annual enrollment. I'm sorry. See, that's
Yep.
how little I know.
Annual
Thank you for
enrollment.
correcting me. It's called annual enrollment period.
Uh-huh.
When does that begin?
Okay. October 15th
Yeah.
through December 7th.
Got
Pearl
it.
Harbor Day. I always remember it. Like
Okay. And what's great is you have to make sure you do this the right way. You have to make sure you're crazy compliant. That's what we're all about, making
Yep.
sure everything we do. That's why we're running it and hired somebody full time to help us run that end of the business. If you were going to leave everybody today with a couple things that they would need to understand about why should they get on every week? Why, if I'm an agent, I got hired 2 months ago and I'm selling mortgage and final expense and I haven't sold any MedSup, or I'm an agent who's experienced, been selling for 5 years. I'm any agent that works at Family First Life. Why do I need to be on the AMS? We get it. The annuities, IUL, we've been doing this. Why do I not want to miss the MedSup Med Advantage training?
Because every week you're going to learn something new. And in the beginning, whether you have some experience, no experience, whatever you hear for the first time or the second time, sometimes it doesn't always click. And on the next one, you're going to hear something new. And what you learn on that next one that's new can give you a whole new opportunity to write mid-year. We don't just want to write at AEP, annual enrollment period. We don't want to just write at T65. We want to be there all year for these clients. Okay. And when you get on that phone call, you will learn just a little bit something new or a couple of new things that will give you that edge over that other agent who walked in, who didn't realize, wow, I missed out on that opportunity. I could have signed this client up. Okay. Our opportunity lies with the clients that we sit with every day and with our T65 leads. So what we want to make sure is when we go into that home, we find that opportunity and we get them enrolled. So we get our 2 a week.
And that's the 2 a week, right?
2
and that's
a
the thing.
week,
You have
that's what
enough
we want.
clients, get 2 a week.
2
And I
a
think
week.
we've said this, and I'll end with this. When you're, once I had that experience, I think also getting on lets you realize it's not as difficult as you think it is.
That's
and
right.
that's the thing. I think after that process, I was like, wow, if I'm in the field full time, I would sell them at least 2 a week.
Oh, easily.
And we also want to make sure that we want to be a meaningful specific in our clients' lives. And the more needs we can meet, the more meaningful we become. And if we're treating them right, which we do, and they trust us, which they should because we treat them right, we better their lives in so many different ways. Maybe it's a referral, maybe it's their parents, their grandparents, whatever it happens to be. So I appreciate you jumping on today. AMS, thank you for allowing us to jump on. Looking forward to being part of this every single week. So you guys have an outstanding rest of your week and a better next week, and you'll get a lot of knowledge from Chantal every week. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Shawn.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Dawn Sugar, and I'm from Ashland, Oregon with Family First Life. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about selling smaller annuities and what I do in the home to find the money and to help the customers and to bring it to the point that it gets issued. One of the things, since I started with Family First Life about 4 years ago, I was always in the home looking to protect families, whether it was mortgage protection. And what I find is in a lot of cases we have older clients that actually their health isn't good enough to warrant doing a affordable life insurance policy. But when I ask questions, do you have anything that acts like life insurance, such as savings, 401k, IRAs, any excess money that's just sitting around, maybe in a safe, that would act like life insurance. And a lot of times clients will say to me, well, I've got about $40,000 sitting in my bank account. And I said, yeah, how do you like that 0.025? I said, in fact, I know me, if I keep anything less than $10,000, they actually charge me to keep my money in the bank. And they laugh and they agree. And used to be CDs were the way to go. And again, they're not making any money with CDs. So therefore, annuities are a great way for people to keep their money safe and actually participate in the growth. So one of the things I've done from the start is really try to break it down to a very simple formula. There's only really three ways to actually put your money in. That would be in a bank, in a savings account, or in a fixed or variable annuity. And I try to explain to people that variable annuities are what people always thought of as annuities, and when people say you don't want to do an annuity, that's usually because variable annuities have some of the largest fees in the industry. The word annuity, which is a lifetime payout, sounds enticing, but when you look at the fees and the fact that you're still exposing your money, you could lose all your money, and the small income that you've turned on is all that remains with the contract until you die. So what's nice with Athene and the fixed index annuity industry, they've been around about 20 years, only sold by life insurance brokers, such as ourselves. And what I explain to people when I'm honest with them, I said, I'm not a securities broker. I don't have a license to lose you money. I'm here to protect your money and have it grow safely. And in fact, over the last few years, the company we represent, Athene, which is A-rated, has a great accumulation product, which is a lot of the smaller annuities. They're just looking, they don't need to really take the money out, so they're looking to accumulate it, but if they do want to take money out, absolutely. So one of the things that I always have on hand, once I deal with the life insurance and I squash that's not an option, they pull out a statement or they tell me they've got some extra cash, right away I pull this out and I have it laminated, and it's a nice little brochure. Top 5 retirement questions. How will the market affect my retirement? Will I outlive my retirement? How will health costs impact my retirement? Can I get fair returns without risking loss? And what will I leave for my loved ones? And that's life insurance. That's what people in their 60s, 70s, even into their 80s are looking to do. And what I always show them is I said, this is the stock market. And if you were around and had money, maybe you were close to retirement in 2002, look at the drop in 2007, 8 again, and now we're on an upward. And as we know, over the last few days, the market's been down. A lot of consumer confidence is what the stock market's based on. A lot of the things with the tariffs, a lot of the political divide is causing the stock market to not do well. And one of the things that I explained to them is I said, this is your money right now if you've got it with a financial advisor. Not only are they taking fees of somewhere between 3, 4, and even up to 5%, some of the variable annuities, I was like, your money is totally exposed. I said, and if you tell them that you're very conservative in your investments, they're going to do something even worse for you. They're going to put half your money into cash. In other words, you're not even being exposed to the market, but they are managing it, and they are taking fees out of that, and they're only exposing half of your money to possible upswings in the market. So that being said, basically this, like I said, is the actual stock market. If you put your money into a fixed index annuity, what we do, when the market goes up, you participate. This is the green line. When the market goes down, it's at 0. Keep going up, and it's like this. So if you would have started with $100,000 and had an annuity, at this point you would be left with $191,000, but in the stock market you'd be at $137,000. And again, while that might be like, oh well, I did make $37,000 in 20 years, one of the things that you don't know is it down right now, and are you back at 100,000? And you're going to pull statements out, and we've had the best stock market in the last 2 to 3 years, and I'm seeing a lot of clients with their investments are the same, and if they're pulling money out, the line is going down because they're actually losing money, and eventually it's going to run out. So one of the things I do is I usually I have an example of a $30,000 client, and I always have the Athene brochure with me. I love this because it just gives you a little bit of how solid Athene is. They're now publicly traded, number 2 fixed index annuity, A-rated, and I explained that insurance companies, unlike banks have an FDIC thing up to like $100,000, but banks could go under and they could mismanage your money, as we saw with the real estate crisis and the mortgage crisis, and you could lose money. With insurance companies, they're highly regulated. For every dollar of policyholders or people with annuities that they have to have $3 to $4 of their own money in cash reserves. Athene happens to be their own reinsurance company, meaning they didn't even have to take out a policy to insure the policyholders. So that's really solid, and that's really knowing that your money's safe, because that's always the thing is they know Morgan Stanley, J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, you know, Edward Jones, those names they are familiar marketing-wise, so they feel like their money's safe, but I do tell them they could lose all their money. Also, what I say is, isn't it great if you could be in the stock market without the risk? And I was like, one of the newest ways you can invest your money with a fixed index annuity is in the Janus Fund. And I have one of the brochures. And basically, it's the Janus Fund is a top 250 large cap companies with the lowest volatility risk. So that is really nice. It talks about how they use market consensus and expose you to the market. And there's a 1 year and a 2 year Janus. The 2 year seems to perform the best, but if you want to be able to maybe put 50% in a 1 year, 50% in a 2 year, that would be the thing. There's also the Morningstar, there's the BNP, there's other ways. But I love when I do an illustration and I want to explain to them and I show them, I said, as I mentioned, you only participate in the gain. So if you look at this right now, what I love about this is the last 10 years in the actual Janus Fund. If you had $30,000 and you put it into this was actually the Performance Elite 7 Plus. It gets a 5% bonus in Oregon. So you put your money in there, you're rolling it over from an IRA, it rolls over, you don't have to pay taxes on it. It's a, you know, like exchange, you know, go from stocks to, you know, an IRA stocks to an IRA annuity. So with this illustration, with this, I show them, I was like, what's nice with this, it doesn't have a cap. So you get total participation, but there is a floor, meaning if the market goes down 10 or 20%, you stay at zero. Now, this is a 2 year Janus, and they had $30,000. We gave them the $1,500 bonus. It adjusts every 2 years. So the second year, it went up 25.9%. The fourth year doesn't adjust on the third year, it only adjusts every 2 years, 11.45. Then on the 6th year, 29.7. 8th year, it was a down market, so it got 0. You see that? Yep, no negatives on this. And 17.10, averaging 7.86 indexing. In the best, 9%, and even in the lowest, 6.27. Then I bring them right around to the 6.35. Look at this. They started with $30,000. They now are growing 10 years. This guy was 76. At 86 years old, he has $54,716 in there. Never lost a penny. If he lives to 95, he has $89,000 just from his original $30,000. Also, looking at the 7.86, same situation. At 86, he has $63,000, and at 95, with that original $30,000 investment, he has $115,495. So, incredible way to protect somebody's money, give them a chance to make money. And so what I do when I sit down with a client and I'm doing the financial inventory, you know, once I explain that I'm a broker, I work with several different insurance companies. I also say that I specialize in retirement planning and also Medicare supplement and Social Security planning. So I'm pretty much here to take a look at your complete financial picture and from there decide what would be the best thing to protect your family. John, if something happens to you, Mary, if something happens to you, how are we going to protect everything? So that being said, once I get past that, I then go right to the actual, you know, finding the cash, finding the investments, getting the statements. Now, the illustration software is really easy on the website. I use that often right in the home, show it on my iPad. If you're not really sure, you find the money, you're all excited, and you just feel like you need more experience to know if you should put them in, what product to put them in. But a lot of my smaller annuities, the Performance Elite, and there's this 10 product, but it doesn't perform as well as the 7. Plus, you're not putting them, you know, there's surrender charges with annuities. You're not putting them into for a long time. You're giving them a chance to be in there. The Plus version with the bonus has a 0.95% rider fee. The bonus kind of offsets that, not to mention a 10% liquidity rider. If you take money out, you can take up to 10% the first year. If you don't take any money the first year, you can take up to 20% the second year. Also, the Ascent Pro is a nice one where it offers a nice income, confinement care, and the newest really amazing thing for a lot of younger people, if you've got clients in their 50s and 60s, you can put them into the Agility, which has an increasing income after 10 years when they turn income on. Now, they can access money. It is growing in the S&P or the Janus or whatever you put it in. But that's basically, what it is. So I, on an average, sell about 15, 20 annuities a year. You might think I'm very wealthy, but no. Most of those annuities, like I said, $10,000 minimum to get in the Performance Elite. I've taken people with $16,000. In fact, I have a client tomorrow. $30,000, $50,000. Just wrote one yesterday for $75,000. Again, they were concerned when I showed them 7 to 8 years. They're in their 60s that they would have close to $150,000 based on the Janus and indexing. They're like, this is what we've been looking for, and it's just a matter of being able to do that. So I hope that gives you a little bit of how I find small annuities. And if you have any questions, Shawn Ruggiero, Ask the Expert, all those people can actually help you. Or just shoot me an email on Facebook if you follow one of the FFL USA and Dawn Sugart. And like I said, I'm out of Oregon. Thank you. Have a great day.